All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Construction CPA's Coffee Cafe. I'm the Construction CPA, Lisa Raish. We are dropping the hammer on cash flow problems so you can build things that matter. And today's topic, which I think is kind of important because we're coming up on a deadline for a new filing, we're going to talk about something that's called the BOI. Everything has been referred to as that. It's called the Beneficial Ownership Information Reporting. So, what exactly is that? So it is a brand new government filing. It is new. It was implemented or instituted somewhere a year or two ago, but they rolled it out as of January 1 of this year. We've never had to file this before. So a lot of people have questions about it, what it is, why we have to do it. So we're going to go over exactly kind of what it is. We'll talk about what you need in order to actually file it. The fact that most businesses are being asked to actually file it themselves versus having someone else to file it, and so on and so forth. So we'll kind of walk through kind of a little bit about what it is, who it applies to, who it doesn't apply to, et cetera. So I'm just going to read you just kind of like a little definition here. Normally don't like to read things, but I want to make sure that we're clear. But so the beneficial ownership information reporting is a process where companies are required to submit details about the individuals who ultimately own or control the company. So this is going to be, let's just call this comparable to the annual report that you file with the state that you're, or the state you're registered in. This is going to be a filing on the federal level. So this isn't state related, like wherever you're located. This is on the federal level. But on a very general basis, it's going to be comparable to that annual report that you're filing in the states that you're located in, right? So what's the purpose of this? Why does the government want to do this? So at the heart of it, they're stating that they want to prevent criminals from using U.S. companies as shell companies, to hide their identities, to facilitate their illegal activities, to launder money. A lot of what we're seeing and we're reading about is they're wanting to curb any kind of money laundering activities, et cetera. So this is now basically you're going to be completing a formal report with the names, addresses, birth dates, et cetera, of the individuals that are in control of companies here in the U.S. So basically what's the criteria, right? Everyone is asking us because now especially as we get closer to that initial filing date. So to be completely honest, most of us who are in the industry are kind of waiting for someone to basically come around close to the due date and state they're going to push it out another year, to be completely honest. When the filing went into effect on January 1, the portal to actually file wasn't even up and running. The portal was very glitchy in the early part of the year. It actually wasn't even operational, I think, for the first 6 or 7 weeks of the year. So there's, unfortunately, when there's a brand new filing that the government decides that they want to implement, in many cases that first year can be typically will get pushed out towards we get closer to the deadline. I'm not saying that they will, but as of right now, the deadline is December 31. So what does this mean? If you're a corporation, if you're an S corporation, if you're an LLC filing as a C Corp or an S Corp or a partnership, any entity that has been created by a Secretary of State in one of the states that you're located in, these are all entities that qualify to file this filing. So again, that LLC that's filing as an S Corp, a C Corp, even the partnership, or even if you are filing as a single member LLC, you've registered that entity, that legal entity with your state, and therefore you're going to need to report back this information to the government. So it's a very large overarching group of people that it kind of pulls under that umbrella. And so the reality is for us in our business, this is probably 97% of our clients are going to need to file this filing. So again, if you have an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, you have a partnership and you're registered with the state that, you're based out of, or if you're based out of a number of states, you want to, or you're going to be required to file this filing. So what are you going to need to file this filing? Okay. So you're going to need basic information. You're going to need basic identifying information. So the beneficial owners. The reality is the majority of companies in or registered entities in the US, a very, very, very large portion of them are going to be owned solely by one individual or going to be owned solely by two individuals. The average small business in this country has one owner or maybe two partners like in ownership. So you're going to need, so for example, I'll use myself as an example. I have an entity. So I would need to make sure when I go to the portal to file my filing, and when at the end of this, when we're done recording, we'll give you the web address for you to go in and file this filing. So what do I need? I need my name, my full legal name. I need the address where I'm located right now. I need my birth date. I'm going to need other identifying information because I'm going to need my social security number. When I'm filing, I'm also going to need to prove who I am. So that's going to require me to upload some sort of information, a driver's license, a passport that's going to show and prove who I am. So those are the pieces of information related to the beneficial owners that you're going to need. Now, your business, you're going to need the same type of information that you would need to file your annual report. The legal name of your entity, the address, the EIN for the entity, right? So these are all basic things that you're going to need when you file your annual report to the state. You just need a couple of additional pieces of information to report about the beneficial owners that you wouldn't necessarily report on the state level. For example, on the state level, I'm just reporting my name and my address and my ownership in the entity. I'm not reporting a social security number or a date of birth in there. So those are going to be additional pieces of information you're going to need. Now, the reality is if you're filing your own, you're going to know your birth date and you're going to know your social security number. And so and then of course, when you upload that piece of information proving who you are, so you're going to want to have the ability to upload that. You're going to, I believe, I have not gone through and finished mine, but I believe there is an opportunity for you to go in there and kind of snap a picture of your driver's license with a cell phone and upload it and so on. So just make sure you understand that you're going to have to prove who you are with this filing. Now, what does that mean? So basically, any businesses that were created before 2024 must submit their filings before January 1 of 2025. So basically, you have until midnight on December 31, 2024 to file that filing for any entity that was created prior to 2024. So if you were in business in 2023, even if it was at the end of 2023, you have to file by January 1, 2025. Now, one of the things that they have implemented is any brand new entities that were created in 2024, you have 90 days after the date that you created your entity to file and submit this BOI report to the government. So the majority of you that are out there have probably been in business a year, maybe longer. So again, your deadline is going to be, is January 1, 2025, or basically midnight, December 31, 2024. So there are a couple of entities that don't qualify there, that fall into like this exemption space. So what does that mean? You're considered what's not a reporting company. Basically not-for-profits fall under this, and governments. So again, the reality is a good chunk of you that are out there, and if you have a legal entity, you need to report back this filing. Again, it's basic name, address information, and proving your identity when you're submitting. And that's really, it should not take you take you about 10 or 15 minutes to do this. So let's talk a little bit about fines and penalties. Non-compliance, basically, if you do not file, you would be subject to fines $500 or more a day for reporting this late. So again, if you don't file till January 3 or 4, you're accumulating fines of $500 a day for not filing the filing. So again, the penalties can be pretty hefty. In extreme cases, they're stating, let's see, for criminal charges, it could be, let's see, in extreme cases, willful failure to file may result in criminal charges, including potential fines in the amount of $10,000 and up to 2 years imprisonment. So go in and file your BOI report. It's a simple name, address type of filing that you need to report back. No need for people to go to jail because they didn't file or chose not to file. It is a basic name, address type of, and I'll call it an annual report type of filing. That is similar to, again, an annual report that you would file with the state that you're registered in. So again, what do you need? So you've got to know who all your beneficial owners are, right? Again, the most of the people that we're talking to here that are going to see this video are going to be sole owners. You may have a partner, you may have 2 partners. So again, you're going to need that information in order to report that back, the BOI report back. Okay. You want to make sure that you're up to date. You always know who the owners are. Again, if you're the owner or you have a partner, you're going to be pretty confident in who the owners are. It does get a little bit more elaborate, again, once you start to get into companies that have layers of shareholders and so on. So again, that's probably not the average individual that we're speaking to at this moment. You are probably a sole owner. You may have a partner or 2 in your business. So you're going to know who everybody is. Again, reach out to your accountant and ask questions. Reach out to your attorney, ask questions. I do know that there are some legal limitations for us as CPAs to, in fact, be filing this filing on behalf of clients. Many of us, to include myself, are not filing on behalf of our clients. Some of our insurance companies are coming back and stating that the liabilities associated with improper filings are too extreme and they're unwilling to cover us from an insurance liability standpoint. So there are many CPAs who've kind of backed away from this and stated it's the responsibility of the client to file their own filing. To be completely honest, if you need your name, your address, your social, your date of birth, and proof of driver's license or a passport, it's far easier for you as the owner to file the filing yourself than it is for you to. You're going to have to securely share all this information with whomever your provider is. They're going to have to submit it on your behalf and so on. It's actually far more elaborate for an outside vendor, a CPA, or an attorney to file it on your behalf. It actually would get kind of expensive to go back and forth, to have to, get all the proper information from the individuals of, again, who is everyone, the proof of identity, etc. It's probably cheaper. It's going to be much cheaper and quicker for you as the owner to submit your own. So again, as I mentioned, you're going to need the full legal names of each of the beneficial owners. So again, if, what's your properly, like what is on, your social security card, right? What number or what name would be on your passport as being your legal name? We all have nicknames and things like that. It's not nicknames that go on there. It's actually going to be your full legal name. Again, your date of birth, where you're located, like your personal address. You're going to need to be able to provide, again, some sort of unique identifying number. It's going to be a social security number, a passport number, and then you're going to have to prove it by uploading that document to support it. Again, you'll also need the business. Again, business's trade name, its legal name. So if you are an entity doing business as, you're going to need all of that information and be able to submit it. Your current legal address for the entity here in the US, again, wherever you were formed. So whatever state that you were legally formed in, whether it be California, New York, Delaware, wherever, you're going to want that information. And you're going to need the entity's EIN. So again, it's a basic, and I'm going to call it a basic. It's very comparable to the annual report you're going to file on the state level on an annual basis. So this is going to be a basic filing, very, very similar. You're reporting back the name of the entity and all the pertinence, the name of the owners and all of the pertinence, and then proof of the identity of the individual who's the beneficial owner who's submitting the information. That's really the bulk of it. It is a relative, it should take you 10 or 15 minutes to do this filing in its entirety. It's not overly complex. So, don't fear that, you aren't qualified to put your business's name and address in. It really is meant to be a simple reporting back annual report type tool. Again, you're going to just need basic information, but if you don't file, the costs associated with not filing on time are quite costly. So it's not worth the penalties and interest and then having to fight it after the fact if you haven't filed it. So again, we're getting to the latter part of the year. So go on in, file your BOI report, your beneficial ownership interest form. Get that filed in prior to the close of the day, basically by midnight, December 31, 2024, or January 1, 2025. And you should avoid any penalties and interest. If you guys have any questions, we always love to hear from you. Please drop them in the chat below. I will drop in there the link to file, basically the website, the FinCEN website, where you can go in and file that BOI report. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible so that you can get in your filing on a timely fashion. If you have, we'd always love to see you here every week. We look forward to seeing you next week and have a wonderful weekend.